there, my name's Linda Driver and I'm a University of California Cooperative Extension Master Food Preserver. Today I'm going to do a short video on how to dry fruit. I'm going to make, one session I'm going to make dried apricots and the other one fruit leather. So for both of those things we need a dehydrator. You can do it in the oven, but it's a lot more efficient and a lot faster in a dehydrator. And before we start, I will tell you, you can go spend money for a brand new dehydrator, but if you keep your eyes open at garage sales, estate sales, and thrift shops, you can find a dehydrator for about 20 bucks because people buy it and then they stop. But if you've got a fruit tree and it's producing fruit, you need to do something with that fruit. So this is the way to do it. Okay, there's different kinds of dehydrators. They all have a heating element of some sort, and the best ones have a fan. This one has a fan in the top. It heats the air and it pushes it down through the trays to dry the food. There's also a temperature gauge on the side because different foods require different amount of heat in order to get to the right degree of dryness. The reason we dry food is it removes the water. And if you remove the water, then your food will be preserved and you won't have to worry about it going bad. The trays, let me put this over here. The trays stack nice and neatly, and you can put your dried fruit right on top of these trays, but I have found a couple of things that really help. This is a liner that goes on it, and it is really good because the fruit won't stick, and so you will be able to get your fruit off. This other liner is one I use when I'm making a fruit leather, and it does the same thing. The fruit doesn't stick to it, and so you can pour your fruit leather on it and peel it right off. Some dehydrators have the fan and heater on the top, some have it on the bottom, and some have it in the back. The best of them are these big rectangular models, but they take up a whole lot of space and they're kind of heavy. So this one was one I got for $20 at an estate sale, and it works just fine. So when you're dehydrating fruit, you want to, if you're going to dehydrate the pieces of fruit, this is where you want to find your prettiest pieces. You want to find ripe fruit, and you want it to not have bruises and not have blemishes and stuff. If they do, cut them out, but that's what you want. When we go to make fruit leather over here, that's when you can use the beat up stuff. You will still cut out the bad spots and the bruises, but it doesn't matter because you're going to blend it and make it into sort of a mush that's going to turn into your fruit leather. Okay, so if we're going to make fruit leather, we don't have to worry about the apricots being so pretty because we're going to smush them up really good and you wouldn't be able to tell the pretty one from the not pretty one. What we do want though is we want them to be good. So when you get an apricot that has a bad spot like that, you check and see how far the bad spot goes, and if it goes all the way through, you don't use that one. But half of this one is okay, so it's going to get used. This is a great place to use your less than pretty fruit. And you can make fruit leathers, and one of the nice things about fruit leathers is you can mix different kinds of fruits. You can add other spices and stuff for flavorings. One of the best ones I ever made was a peach fruit leather with a good dose of vanilla in it. Oh, it was really good. So anyway, we need to make this recipe for this amount, and you can multiply this out as many times as you want, as much fruit as you have, and as long as you have room in your dehydrator for it. We need 2 cups of pureed apricots, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. So when we get there, we'll show you what it looks like when we pour it out to be leather. All right, I have blended the apricots. I added the lemon juice. That'll keep it from browning too much. And I added just a little bit of sugar, not much. You can do it without sugar. You can use honey. You can use syrup. And I like to do my leathers in about pancake size ones, because if I do it like this, then when I take it off of this to wrap it, it's already the right size for an individual snack. So you want to do it so that it has room to spread out and be about a 1/4 inch thick. And the fruit leather is supposed to take between 5 and 7 hours to dry. And we'll come back and show you what it looks like when it is the right amount of dry. So you don't want to crowd things. You want to give it plenty of room for the air to go around it. So I will make a couple of trays of this, and that's what it looks like. And you can take a spoon and flatten it out just a little bit so that it's about a 1/4 inch thick. That's what you want, is about a 1/4 inch thick, so that it dries nice and evenly. And once again, you see I put it on this non-stick surface so it'll peel off easily when it's dry. And when I put the top on this dehydrator, I will set it for 140 degrees. So the temperature gauge will be right about there. And that's what I need for drying the fruit leather and for drying the apricot halves. Okay, it's now a day later, and we're going to finish putting away the dried fruit that we made the other day. So I dried the fruit leather in one of my dehydrators, and this is what it looks like when it's done. It's a little bit tacky to the touch, but it doesn't dent when I touch it. That's one of the tests for fruit leather. And you lift the liner up, and all it takes is bend the liner back a little bit and peel the fruit leather up. The liners that I told you about earlier in the video are really good to use. You can also use parchment paper. And then for storage, I take the piece of fruit leather, put it on a piece of wax paper, and roll it up, just like that, and put a twist on either end, and then put it into a storage container that you can seal. The recipe that I used for the fruit leather using fresh fruit is good for fruit leather that you're going to use within, a week or so. If you want to have longer storage for your fruit leather, then you should go to the National Center for Home Food Preservation, and you will find all kinds of directions and approved recipes to follow. So you'll make whatever you make will be safe. When you store this, it's really good to put it in a container that can be sealed. This is one that goes with my vacuum sealer, and I can actually put a vacuum on it if I want to store it for a longer period of time. If you're going to eat it right away, it can stay out at room temperature. You can put it in the refrigerator and it'll last for several months, and you can put it in the freezer and it'll last for up to a year. So, welcome to the world of making your own fruit leathers. You know what goes in them. You can mix the fruits, make whatever flavor you want, and save a lot of money and use up all those apricots that are falling off that tree.